Chief Guest of this evening, Honorable Chief Justice Gopal Vallabh Patnaik, the former Chief Justice of India, the distinguished guest in our function, Sri Pratap Janna, Honorable Minister of Law, Housing, Panchayat Raj and Drinking Water, Sri Justice Raghuveer Das, our Honorable Member, all distinguished guests of the dais, our former members and former acting chairman who are present here, government officials, human rights activists, social organizations, social activists, our law students, and the members of the legal fraternity, the lawyers. I welcome all of you. Today, the 10th December, is a historic day for the entire human civilization of the world. And the State Human Rights Commission is celebrating the Human Rights Day today. It is our pride, privilege that our beloved Chief Minister and undisputed leader of the 4.5 crores Odia people, Sri Naveen Patnaik ji, with us on this auspicious occasion. It is our Honorable Chief Minister who has been tirelessly working for the transformation of society, for development of the city, and for protecting the rights of the poor, downtrodden and the deprived sections of the state. I welcome Honorable Chief Minister as our chief guest, and we are proud of you, sir, and I request all the audience to have a strong applause in welcoming our Honorable Chief Minister. I am also privileged to welcome the pride of our state, the former CJI, my Lord Justice G.B. Patnaik, who has spared his time, valuable time, to be with us. I also welcome our beloved Law Minister, who has been working for the legal fraternity and other sections of the people, for his kind consent and for his kind presence. And I welcome again our chairperson, Honorable Chief Justice Vimal Prasad Das, who is known as the board and a few of his results. He is today our chairperson. I have no words to welcome him. I also welcome our honorable members, Justice Raghuveer Das. I welcome all of you who are present here by sparing your valuable time. I welcome the print media, electronic media members who are here, who will carry the message. I also welcome all the government officials, and I am thankful to the departments like Information and Public Relations, Cultural Department, Commissioner of Police, Gunsul Municipal Corporation for extending the helping hand for making this program, this observation a success. Thank you all. Jai Jagannath, Vande Uttarjanami, Namaskar.
माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्रीयुक्त नवीन पटनायक जी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट पूर्वतन मुख्य न्यायाधीश श्रीयुक्त जी.बी. पटनायक, ओडिशा राज्य मानवाधिकार आयोग अध्यक्ष जस्टिस विमल प्रसाद दास, ओडिशा राज्य मानवाधिकार आयोग सदस्य श्रीयुक्त असीम अमिताभ दास तथा आयोग अन्य पदाधिकारी वृंद, मंच तले थिबा समस्त सम्मानित अतिथि माने और सांबादिक बंधु माने, मानवाधिकार सुरक्षा अधिनियम 1993 को आधार करी 2003 मसीह ओडिशा मानव अधिकार आयोग गठन करा जायछि। सेही दिन ठारू दीर्घ 16 वर्ष होला ए आयोग मानव अधिकार सुरक्षा आईन रो उपयुक्त प्रयोग एवं राज्यर पीड़ित नागरिकों को तांको अधिकार पुनर्बार जोगाइबारे निरवच्छिन्न उद्यम जारी रखिछि। एतद व्यतीत आयोग प्रत्येक नागरिकों को तांकर मौलिक अधिकार यथा जीवन, स्वाधीनता, समानता और मर्यादा विषय रे यथासाध्य सचेतन करिवारे मध्य पदक्षेप नेछि। मानव अधिकार प्रसंगर विभिन्न दिग मान हेला शिशु, स्वास्थ्य, जेल, अपराधी गोष्ठी, श्रमिक, संख्यालघु तथा अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति, शारीरिक भिन्नक्षम, पुलिस और अर्धसामरिक बाहिनी, प्रदूषण, धार्मिक गोष्ठी, चाकरी, महिला वर्ग और अन्य। आयोग निज कार्यानुष्ठान परिप्रेक्षी सर्वदा समाज अधिक क्षतिग्रस्त और दुर्बल वर्ग अधिकार सुरक्षा दिगरे गुरुत्व आरोप करिसेंती और जो शिशु असहाय महिला पीड़ित कैदी चिकित्साधीन रोगी एवं शारीरिक मानसिक सामाजिक स्तर में अवहेलित व्यक्ति अंतर्भुक्त। आयोग हस्तक्षेप फल जनसाधारण मानव अधिकार और मौलिक स्वाधीनतार सुरक्षा क्षेत्र में राज्य में दृष्टांतमूलक विकास घटी। 2016 मसीहा जुलाई मासरे कंधमाल जिलार परपंगा ग्राम पंचायत कुमुड़बाह ग्रामर जो निरीह व्यक्ति माने रिजर्व बाहिनी और नक्सल मध्य गुली विनिमय समय मृत्याहत होते से केस रे कमिशनर हस्तक्षेप करी सेमानक परिवार को अनुकंपा राशि प्रदान तथा अन्य सुविधा सुजोग जोगई देवा दिगरे आयोग दृष्टांतमूलक भूमिका ग्रहण करछन्ते। यह केवल एकमात्र उदाहरण एभली अनेक विषय रे अनेक पीड़ित तथा पीड़िता को परिवार उपकृत होइछन्ते। आज ओडिशा राज्य मानवाधिकार आयोग संपूर्ण सक्रिय। आगामी दिन में आयोग को आहरी अधिक सक्रिय कर्मक्षम और संप्रसारित करने कथा मध्य सरकार विचार करछन्ते। भविष्य में राज्यर सबु नागरिक जेपरि भाबरे এই आयोगर भूमिका विषय सचेतन होई पारिबे एवं जो क्षेत्र में मानव अधिकार उल्लंघन होउची सेठारे किपरि पीड़ित व्यक्ति तुरंत न्याय पाइबे से दिगरे आयोग निजर भूमिका निभेइबे और सरकार तरफ विहित साहाय्य और सहायता जोगई दिया जिवो। आज विश्व मानव अधिकार दिवस रे मु समस्त को मोर शुभेच्छा और अभिनंदन जनाऊँगी। वंदे उत्कल जय।
Respected Chief Minister Mr. Patnaik, Law Minister Mr. Jena, Mr. Das, Chairman Human Rights Commission, Mr. Das, the other member of the Human Rights Commission, former members of the Human Rights Commission, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to be present here and participate in this celebration of the Human Rights Day, organized by the State Commission. Though I live in Delhi for last 27 years, but I have spent my 60 years of my life in this state, and therefore I keep more interest with the development and the rights and liberty of the state citizens, how it is being managed. I am therefore thankful to the chairman of this Human Rights Commission to give me this opportunity to be amongst you all and share my thoughts on this fateful day. Human right is nothing but the natural rights of every human being based on natural law. Therefore, every individual has these rights against the state and other public authority by virtue of his being a member of the human family. Protection of such rights, however, emerged as a post-Second World phenomenon, having seen the blatant violation of such rights during the Second World War period and particularly by Hitler in Germany. Subsequent to the Second World War, charters of United Nations were adopted and the expression human right was first found in the charter dated 29th of June 1945 at San Francisco. The said charter indicated the ideals of giving statutory recognition and creation of an enforcement institution for such rights, and in December 1948, the UN General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That declaration took concrete steps by way of formulating various human rights, and the same was to be followed by an international Bill of Rights which could be binding on the covenanting parties as the Declaration of Human Rights was not binding legally. The United Nations had no machinery for its enforcement. This deficiency was removed by a declaration in UN General Assembly, and finally covenants came into force in December 1976 after a requisite number of states ratified them. India was a party to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights adopted by the General Assembly in December. It is in this country wide-ranging discussions were held in the several Chief Minister conferences on human rights and its violation and the creation of the institution to protect such rights, and several seminars were organized, and finally, taking into account the views expressed in these discussions, the Government of India promulgated an ordinance on 28th of September 1993 for constitution of the National Human Rights Commission, as well as such commission in states for protection of human rights and matters connected therewith, which was later replaced by the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. This act has been amended twice in the meantime. It's a matter for pride for this state of Odisha that the first chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission was from this state, late Justice Ranganath Mishra. Though the National Commission came into existence way back in 93, the Constitution of State Human Rights Commission was the discretion of the state government under Section 21 of the Act. And in this state, the State Commission was constituted in the year 2003, and the first chairperson was my esteemed colleague, a former judge of the Supreme Court, Justice D.P. Mahapatra. Even though the commission is constituted under the Act, but no such commission can function efficiently unless the state government supports the commission both financially as well as by providing the necessary infrastructure for efficient functioning of the commission. I am told that though in many states the such human rights commissions have been constituted, but they are not functioning efficiently due to lack of effective support from the state government. It's a great pleasure and satisfaction on my part to learn that the Chief Minister of this state is very cooperative and has provided the necessary infrastructure for effective functioning of the State Commission. I am therefore thankful to the Honorable Chief Minister who has rendered such support to the State Human Rights Commission. No doubt, Mr. Patnaik is one of the most popular Chief Ministers in the country, but I must remind him that his good governance depends upon the satisfactory function of two institutions, particularly the Lokayu and the State Human Rights Commission, and both these institutions have been functioning very well. While we are celebrating the Human Rights Day today and are in a joyous mood, it would also be appropriate for this commission to have an introspection and prepare a balance sheet with regard to the functioning of the State Commission and try to plug the loopholes. The Commission should not only celebrate but reaffirm its faith in and commitment to fulfill the very objectives for which the institution was constituted, so that the people of the state can be assured of redressal of the government grievances when they approach the Commission alleging violation of their rights. Human rights today is not confined to liberty alone of individuals, but are incidents inherent in human existence and are associated with life. Greater awareness of universality of such rights has taken a concrete shape. With passage of time, the expression human rights has acquired an expanded meaning, and though originally such rights were associated with individuals alone, now such rights are acknowledged in groups of people classified on any rational basis, and these group rights are sacrosanct because they are essential for survival of group identity. The significance is greater in a pluralistic society like India. The social and political philosophy indicated in the preamble of our constitution, promising to secure all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, is a synthesis of individual and collective rights of the people. The concept of justice includes dignity of individual and distributive social justice. These rights have to relate with fundamental duties in Article 51A, and the meaning of human rights has to be so understood. All over the world, human rights recognition and mechanism to remedy its violation is making great impact, and so much so that the decision of European Courts of Human Rights are being considered significant even elsewhere. The courts of Australia have gone to the extent of holding that there is a legitimate expectation that the decision-making authority will take into account a provision in the international convention ratified by the country, even though it had not been incorporated in domestic law. The Supreme Court of India on several occasions has relied upon the international convention to enlarge the meaning and the content of the fundamental rights, and thus making those rights more meaningful. In Nilavati Behra's case, way back in '93, for awarding compensation as a mode of enforcement of right to life, reference was made to Article 95. In Visakha, for checking gender discrimination of sexual harassment, international conventions were relied upon and binding guidelines were framed by the court to fill up the legislative vacuum. Human rights operate not as in abstract but in reality. Mere formulation of a charter of rights and its adoption without its translation into reality is meaningless. The impact of the violation of human rights in the international sphere compelled the House of Lords in the United Kingdom to allow extradition of ex-dictator General Pinochet, former president of Chile, who had taken refuge in the United Kingdom to avoid punishment for crimes of systematic murder and imprisonment during his regime as the head of the state. He lost the legal battle against the extradition, and House of Lords held that torture and taking hostages are recognized international crime, and therefore Spanish authorities are entitled to seek his extradition. The claim of sovereign humanity was construed by the House of Lords to be only available for those actions which he properly understood or authorized during his time in office, and it was further held that a former head of the state was entitled to claim immunity to this extent only. In the recent past, the decision taken by the United Nations in Dadab case forced Pakistan government to amend the Army Act and to provide for an appeal against the decision of the Armed Forces Code. Struggle for human rights will continue, and its protection is the duty of all of us. To conclude, I would indicate that the functions and powers of the Commission have been enumerated in Section 12 of the Act, and even the Commission can take cognizance suo motu if it receives information about the violation of human rights or abatement thereof. The Commission can promote research in the field of human rights, and apart from disposing of the complaints received from different persons expeditiously, the Commission would do well by organizing awareness campaigns in different parts of the state to make the people aware of their rights and safeguards available for the protection of such rights. Apart from holding such awareness camps, the Commission can hold seminars and use the vibrant media for that purpose. With these words, I express my gratitude again for getting this opportunity to address this allied gathering, and I am again expressing my thanks to the Honorable Chief Minister for having made this organization a vibrant one in dispensation with the grievances against the violation of such rights. Thank you all.
एमिति किसी व्यक्तित्व को संवर्धित करने को चाहूँ जो माने अतीत एजावत आमकर मार्गदर्शन कर नाम नेबी प्रथम सी शारीरिक अस्तित्व जो आम गहन राज्य पहुंची पारना माननीय न्यायमूर्ति डीपी महापात्र महोदय former Judge Supreme Court of India and former and first chairperson Odisha Human Rights Commission from 11th July 2003 to 2nd August 2007. श्रीयुक्त एशियन पटनायक महोदय आम खूब नम्रतार सहित मंच को आमंत्रण करेंगे एवं माननीय मुख्यमंत्री महोदय को निवेदन रखिए संबोधित करने। डॉक्टर आर.एन. वहीदार महोदय आम खूब नम्रतार सहित निवेदन रखू और सौभाग्य पट्टनायक निवेदन रखी मंच को पाठ जाने माननीय मुख्यमंत्री महोदय को निवेदन रखू संबोधित करने।
Former Chief Justice of India, Honorable Shri Justice G.B. Patnaik, Honorable Chairperson O.H.R.C. Shri Justice B.P. Das, Honorable Minister Law and Panchayati Raj Shri Pratap Jena, Honorable Members O.H.R.C. Shri Justice Raghuveer Das, Honorable Members O.H.R.C. Shri Asamamit Das, dignitaries of the Das, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be here today to attend the celebration of World Human Rights Day. I express my sincere thanks to the Honorable Chairman of the Odisha Human Rights Commission for having organized this function. Human rights assume utmost importance in the present day world after adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the UN General Assembly in 1948. It is a historic landmark in the annals of humanity in breaking the barriers based on caste, color, religion, and nationalism. Thanks to the vigilance of women delegates, that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights became gender neutral and provided the same rights to women as guaranteed to men. The critical mass of women in legislature and in other spheres of collective life is now understood as a step forward in the cause of human rights. By fielding women in 1/3 of the parliamentary seats in Odisha and creating numerous other opportunities for women's empowerment, Odisha has created a revolutionary trend which is being acknowledged across the nation as a major step for inclusive politics and development. Our freedom struggle, led by the Mahatma, based on the principles of non-violence, was as much a struggle for our independence as for human rights of all. My proposal for inclusion of non-violence in the preamble of our Constitution will be a step forward in the protection of human rights. My government is committed to protect the rights and uphold the dignity of people, and is also working to ensure that no one is deprived of basic facilities provided by the government. Transformation can take place only if individual freedom and dignity are guaranteed. Let us all rededicate ourselves to uphold and protect human rights for all, especially those who have become victims of structural forms of inequality and other forms of exclusion. Vande Utkalam.